Bloody cat just bit me. Oh, looks like you've accidentally clicked one of my videos. I'm going to teach you how to build this 2,400 litre steel drum water tank. Well, here's the design that the engineer sent through. It's just a bunch of drums standing one on top of the other, connected with a pipe down the bottom. So the bits that are connecting, I'm using the top, so it's got the holes facing, that way water can flow through. What are you talking about? I've already messed it up. So take out the caps, don't use your pliers like I just did, it wrecks the pliers. Always wash out your drums, even if you think they're, you know, clean, because a little bit of vapor could explode if you get a spark in there. My one did have alcohol and acetylene, bloody something in there. Flammable anyway, nail polish remover, that's what I'm trying to say. So just put it on the grass. Now they were already clean, this is just for the video, or else it would have blown up right now. I'm putting another hole in them all, so just to make even more water go through, you know what I mean? Just, I didn't want any clogs, basically. Look at those sparks. Who needs drugs when you can have grinder sparks? I'm not really an expert, guys. If you're good at, you know, stuff, then you'll probably have worked that out already. I'm taking off the paint and any rust with a steel brush on a drill, and I also touched up the rust all throughout with some paint. Now this thing here I'm going to drop in. It's going to stick out of the bottom of the tank and water's going to flow through it to connect all the drums up. Okay, and that'll also go to the outlet. The way I've done it is I've put the holes so they're sort of facing each other just to help the water go through, and now I'm going to weld those together. Guys, I'm not an expert welder, so it's not a welding video. I have a gasless MIG welder, which is pretty good because you don't have to worry about, you know, gas and stuff, but it does leave slag all over the welds, which is not a big deal. I mean, stick welders do that as well. You just have to get it off. No big deal. Try not to breathe it in like I am. Might explain a lot of things, actually. Okay, so just do that all around, the whole roundness of it, to waterproof it, you know. Have a look at it. There we have it. That's the burn marks from the paint and the slag and stuff. Got to clean that up, so I'm going to use another one of those brushes on a drill. There we go. What it did. Next, to just inspect it for any possible holes, and if I saw a hole like this one, I don't know if it goes all the way through, but I just put a little weld tack on it, you know, went back over it. And then, because bare metal tends to rust, I just put a little bit of paint on it. I know these things are going to rust, in fact they're kind of rusty already. Don't worry about the paint, by the way, see? Now time for the hole in the bottom where the water's going to come both in and out. So just put a hole in it. Now watch this. You ever going to get through that? Watch this. If I was ever worried if my welds were waterproof or not. Love that. Yeah, I did that every time I played with it like that. It was so cool. Okay, so yeah, I did find that it was much easier to drill like this, and also you get a nice sensation on your buttock. And also, you see that hole drill that I've got? I've spent a little extra money and got a decent one. You know, I'm kind of a cheapskate, and it was so much better. So much better. Just drilled a big old hole. There you go. Next, you want to take any burrs off, because it is a bit rough, so I used a rounded file here. Just make sure, put your finger inside. Now, remember how I put that thing inside the pipe thing? So now I'm going to pull it out, make sure you get the consent of the drum first, and there we go. He's a happy boy. Put this on. This is a smooth drum, like there's no ribbing. Which is waterproof, but I found that if there's ribs down the bottom for her pleasure, then it's not very waterproof. But anyway, do that as tight as you can. And there you go. So the water will mostly go in and out of it. This is the top of the drum. You got to put a hole to let air out as it fills up from the bottom. I found that hole was actually not big enough. Oh, I've done a whole bunch. Must have been busy, right? Busy enough. So now it's time to join them up with some pipes. Oh, here's the ribbing that I was talking about. So I used some silicone, and I had a lot of trouble holding the camera, squatting in the garden and siliconing. Sorry about that. And I also didn't realize that this camera stays zoomed in, so it's a bit zoomed in. Like, you turn it off and it doesn't zoom out, like my old camera did. Anyway, there they are. There's another angle. It's funny how much garbage there is in my yard. Like, I don't notice it until I'm looking at it. So here's some fittings. This is a pressure fitting, 25 mil. That's 1 inch pretty much. And it's got some screwy parts. What's that called? I can't remember. There's an elbow, 90 degrees, that pushes on. So that was a male into a female elbow. And now I've got a T that has a screwy part. Someone correct me, what do you call that? And some female holes, female holes. I'm a big fan. Now screw those on. I'm just doing sort of a dry run to get my sizes. I didn't do much measuring. I just put them in and then mark them, and then I'm going to cut them. You can see we've got a little bit of very young sugarcane growing by my foot there, a bunch of weeds as well. See how I've painted the bottom orange? That's just because I just worry that the bottom will rust if it's sitting in water. Now, used a hacksaw because I'm a hack. A little garbage on the table. This place is a mess. Hey, that drum in the background, I'm going to make into a boat because it was just too poisonous inside that one. There was like paint rubbish. I used a chisel to get the excess plastic crap off. I found later that just using the side of the chisel is better than the sharp bit. Also less dangerous, probably. Now, put them all in like that. Alright, those are all pretty much cut to size and ready to go. I've got a section of pipe here. My thinking is that if I ever want to extend it, I can cut this section of pipe and put a fitting on and then just add more drums in this way. So push that in. This is a female to screwy bit connection. What do you call screwy bits? Threaded, Brett. Threaded. They're called threaded. Thank you, it's threaded. And there's the ball valve. There you go. I've got bricks on the bottom just to keep it up off the water and make sure water doesn't pool at the bottom. Now, I watched another YouTube video and they twisted some Teflon tape and threaded around the valleys of the threading there. Now that I've got this word threading, I'm just going to use it a lot. And then go over the top again with some more Teflon tape, which nothing leaks, so I guess it works pretty well. There we go, round and around. The whole time I was making these, I was like, oh, I've got to finish it, because I told my wife I was going to put in some water tanks, because you know Australia gets quite dry. And I'm thinking, man, this would make a sweet pontoon boat. So she was so relieved that I stopped slowly collecting these drums over all these months and probably years. And now I'm like, no, I need more, because I'm making a pontoon boat. So stay tuned in like 12,000 years when I release that video. And maybe another video of me sailing up the river. Anyway, put those on. Here we go. I made a big mess of this, which probably surprises nobody. Red is for health and green is for mana, but do not drink it, okay? Actually, one's for priming, whatever that means. Getting it ready. You gotta get it ready by priming. And the other one is the glue itself, which was a lot thicker than I thought it would be. I've never used this stuff before. And so, yeah, I made a mess. And you see how it's spilling down the jar there? I wonder if that jar will ever be able to get open again. Don't know, haven't tried it since this day. It hadn't rained in weeks when I was doing this. You know, Australia gets dry. It gets dry, and sometimes they say you can't use your tap for gardening, so your, city water. Anyway, push those all on. I found because the drums were empty, they were a bit light, so I kept moving them even though I lined them up how I wanted them, so that was a bit annoying, but... And you see how there's about, I don't know, actually I do know because I measured it, there's 10 centimeters from the base of the drum to the pipe, and I'll just always leave water in there just to make sure they're heavy and they don't blow away one day if there's ever a very strong wind. They never have before, even when they are empty. Now, this is an old ramrod sock from the early 2000s that I've been wearing for bloody years. Hardest substance known to man, these socks. And that's just as a leaf trap. I'll get up there every now and then. This by the way, is the dodgiest part of the whole dodgy setup. It's just sitting in place. This is the downpipe. So if leaves go down, they'll get caught in there, and I'll clean them out until I make a different solution. Okay. Now this is how it goes. That's how it is. It's temporary. I've just cut a little hole and pushed it down, so it's just sitting on that flap, see? It's only going to get filled up in one, and then it'll use the bottom. Look at this! The next morning, it hadn't rained in weeks, and then like 10 hours after I did it, it says you're meant to leave that glyph 24 hours. It's full! No, it's not full. It was about 2/3 full. So, pretty happy. Now, I had a look on the top, and it's clear that the holes I drilled weren't big enough, because I suppose a mixture of surface tension and pressure inside the tank as they're filling up meant that it was pooling. I don't really want it to pool, so I've re-drilled those, and I've actually drilled a couple more holes, because see how they're not quite straight? Okay, so I'm just going to try this. That's something. You know, I've just had a little accident, but hopefully that's good. Turn that on. This is a new hose I bought. It's 18 mil instead of the 12 mil, so you should get more throughput. It's not a very high quality hose, but you could put out a fire with it. Who's this? What are you doing with my hose? I heard a wah. Was that a wah I detected?
Yeah, oh my goodness.
What do you think?
Cool.
Pretty cool?
Yeah.
Now with running water. What are you growing here?
Awesome.
Alright. Thanks for watching my video, everybody, if you watched it. And if you didn't, then how could you be looking at this now? Bye-bye.